All right, Eagles fans, let's talk about the latest moves coming out of Philadelphia. Howie Roseman is making bold decisions in NFL free agency once again. And yet another Eagles Super Bowl champion is heading to a new team. But before we break all of that down, let's take a closer look at the plan Roseman has been executing this offseason. Over the weekend, the Eagles made a major move that somewhat flew under the radar because it happened right after they signed edge rusher Azeez Ojulari to a one-year, $4 million contract. That signing alone is intriguing. Ojulari is just 24 years old, has impressive sack numbers, and brings speed and flexibility off the edge. Philadelphia is betting on their coaching staff to further develop him into a key contributor, and at that price, it's a low-risk, high-reward move. Plus, he's another Georgia Bulldog joining a team stacked with former Georgia stars, including one of his closest friends, Nolan Smith. But the big move that followed was the contract extension for right tackle Lane Johnson, locking him in through the 2027 season. This deal adds $8 million over the next 2 years to his salary, along with $30 million in guaranteed money. In total, he'll earn $48 million over the next 2 seasons with $40 million guaranteed. This ensures that the best right tackle in the NFL isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The decision to extend Johnson is a strong statement from the Eagles. It shows confidence that even at 35 years old, he can continue playing at an elite level. Of course, there's always risk when extending older players. One day you're dominant and the next your body isn't keeping up. But Philadelphia believes in rewarding its own stars, a philosophy that has made this team a top destination in free agency. Players know they'll be taken care of in Philly, and that kind of reputation matters. Johnson has had an incredible career since being drafted 4th overall by Chip Kelly back in 2013. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, a 6-time Pro Bowler, and a 5-time All-Pro selection. He hasn't allowed a sack since the 2023 season, which is just absurd. His consistency is one of the main reasons Philadelphia has been so successful for the past decade. One of the most remarkable aspects of his career is the longevity of the Eagles' core offensive and defensive linemen. In a league where most players last just a few years, Johnson, Jason, Kelsey, Fletcher, Cox, and Brandon Graham played together for over a decade. That's unheard of in today's NFL. Kelsey and Cox have now moved on, but Johnson remains as the last piece of that legendary group. Johnson spoke about his extension in a press conference, saying he believes he can play at a high level throughout the remainder of his contract. He did acknowledge that at his age things are taken year by year, but if his 2024 performance is any indication, he's still one of the best in the business. His Pro Football Focus grades were stellar, with an overall rating of 85.4 and 88.1 pass blocking grade and an 80 run blocking grade. He allowed 0 sacks all season and only gave up 1 quarterback hit, an incredible feat considering he faces elite pass rushers every week. The impact of Johnson's presence on the field is undeniable. With him in the lineup, the Eagles have a record of 102 wins, 55 losses, and 1 tie. Without him, they're just 15-23. That's not a coincidence. He is truly a game changer. If he continues playing at this level, he could go down as not just one of the greatest Eagles of all time, but possibly the best in franchise history. Meanwhile, another Eagles offensive lineman is on the move. The Jacksonville Jaguars have signed former Philadelphia tackle Fred Johnson to a 1-year contract. His journey has been impressive, and now he has a chance to compete for more playing time and return to Florida, where he played college football for the Gators. Last season, the Eagles went 5-1 in games where Fred Johnson started, which is pretty solid for a swing tackle. He had some great moments like shutting down Trey Hendrickson in a game against the Bengals, but he also struggled at times, giving up 8 sacks and ranking 76th out of 85 tackles according to Pro Football Focus. Still, as a backup, he did his job and was another successful development project under Eagles offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland. This brings up an important point. Philadelphia always prioritizes building through the trenches. With the NFL draft approaching, the Eagles will likely be searching for a young offensive tackle to develop. They need a backup swing tackle, and with Lane Johnson's long-term future uncertain, the team could be looking for a potential successor. As for Howie Roseman's plan this offseason, it's becoming clear. The Eagles have let some key players walk in free agency simply because they couldn't afford to keep everyone. Those players earned their big paydays, and Philadelphia had to be smart with their cap space. Instead of overpaying, they have freed up money for future extensions for young stars like Cam Jurgens, Jalen Carter, and Reed Blankenship. The team is now relying on its younger players to step up. Guys like Moro Ojomo Jackson Kirkland, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Kelly Ringo, and Sidney Brown. The Eagles are also banking on their elite coaching staff to develop talent just like they did last year with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Roseman has brought in affordable free agents with upside, hoping they can thrive in this system just like Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick did in previous years. And despite all the departures, this roster is still loaded with talent, and they have plenty of draft capital to keep building. Philadelphia is far from done. This offseason is all about balancing the present with the future, keeping the team competitive now while setting up for long-term success. Howie Roseman is playing the long game, and if history has shown us anything, it's that he usually gets it right. The Philadelphia Eagles have been one of the most well-run organizations in the NFL for years, and this offseason is proving once again why Howie Roseman is regarded as one of the best general managers in football. His strategy has always been about balancing financial responsibility with aggressive roster construction, and once again, he is proving that he knows how to manage a franchise at an elite level, while some key players have left the front office. Has ensured that the core remains strong and the younger generation of Eagles players is ready to step up. One of the biggest aspects of Roseman's approach has been ensuring that the trenches remain a priority. The Eagles have long believed that the key to sustained success is building from the inside out. That means investing in both the offensive and defensive lines, constantly developing talent and making sure that the team has depth in those areas. This philosophy has allowed Philadelphia to be a contender year after year, even as other teams struggle with inconsistency. Lane Johnson's extension is a perfect example of this mindset. While some may question giving a massive contract to a player in his mid-30s, the Eagles understand the value of continuity along the offensive line. Johnson has been an anchor for over a decade, and as long as he remains effective, keeping him in Philadelphia is a priority. He has already proven that he can still play at an elite level, and if he continues on this path, he could go down as one of the greatest players in franchise history. But while Johnson is still playing at a high level, the Eagles also need to think about the future. That's why the upcoming draft will be crucial. Philadelphia needs to find a young tackle who can learn under Johnson and eventually take over when the time comes. The same logic applies on the defensive side of the ball. With veteran leaders like Fletcher Cox no longer on the roster, it's up to the next wave of defensive linemen to step up. Players like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis will have to take on bigger roles, and the Eagles are betting that their coaching staff can help them reach their full potential. Philadelphia's approach to free agency has also been interesting this year. Rather than making huge splash signings, the team has focused on finding value. Azeez Ojulari is a perfect example. He is a talented young pass rusher with a lot of upside, and the Eagles were able to sign him to a team-friendly contract. If he performs well in Philadelphia's system, this could turn out to be one of the steals of the offseason. The same philosophy applies to other additions the Eagles have made. Instead of overpaying for players in free agency, they have targeted guys who fit their system and can contribute immediately. This is a strategy that has worked for the Eagles in the past, and it's why they have been able to remain competitive for so long. At the same time, Philadelphia is also setting itself up for the future by creating financial flexibility. One of the reasons why the Eagles let some key players walk in free agency is because they need to save money for future contract extensions. Young stars like Cam Jurgens, Jalen Carter, and Reed Blankenship are all going to need new deals at some point. And by being smart with their spending, now the Eagles are ensuring that they can keep those players in the long run. The Eagles' ability to develop young talent is another key factor in their success. Last season, we saw how well the team was able to bring along rookies like Jalen Carter or Nolan Smith. Now Philadelphia will be relying on even more young players to step up. Whether it's Moro Ojomo Jackson Kirkland or Sidney Brown, the Eagles are banking on their ability to get the most out of their young talent. One thing that has always set Philadelphia apart is its coaching staff. The Eagles have consistently had some of the best coaches in the league, and their ability to develop players is a big reason why the team has been so successful. This season will be another test for the coaching staff, as they will need to get the best out of a young and evolving roster. But given their track record, there's every reason to believe they will be up to the challenge. Philadelphia's front office has also done a great job of accumulating draft capital. The Eagles have plenty of picks this year and next, which means they have the flexibility to continue building through the draft. Whether they use those picks to select young talent or package them in trades, Roseman has set the team up for success both in the short term and the long term. The departure of Fred Johnson to Jacksonville is another reminder of how Philadelphia has been able to develop depth along the offensive line. Johnson wasn't a star, but he was a reliable backup who played well when needed. Now the Eagles will need to find another young lineman to step into that role. Looking ahead, the Eagles have a clear plan in place. They are relying on their young talent to step up. They are trusting their coaching staff to develop those players, and they are making smart financial decisions to ensure long-term success. At the same time, they still have one of the most talented rosters in the league and are positioned to compete for another Super Bowl. Howie Roseman's ability to balance immediate success with long-term planning is what makes him one of the best general managers in the league. While some teams go Allen for one season and then fall apart, the Eagles have managed to remain competitive year after year. That's not an accident. It's the result of smart decisions, great coaching, and a clear vision for the future. Philadelphia's identity as a team that dominates in the trenches isn't changing anytime soon. With Lane Johnson still anchoring the offensive line and young stars ready to emerge on defense, the Eagles are in a great position to keep winning. This offseason might not have been about making flashy moves, but it has been about making the right moves. And in the NFL, that's what truly matters. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Philadelphia Eagles are reportedly eyeing one of the most intriguing wide receivers in the NFL, Kendrick Bourne. Known for his remarkable ability to make clutch catches and create big plays, Bourne's potential move to Philadelphia could reshape their receiving corps. As the Eagles continue to look for ways to strengthen their offense, adding Bourne could provide the spark they need to push for another Super Bowl appearance. Bourne, who currently plays for the New England Patriots, has proven his worth as a reliable target over the years. Despite being sidelined for much of the 2023 season due to a torn ACL, his performance in the 2023 opener against the Eagles, 6 catches, 64 yards, and 2 touchdowns, left a lasting impression. His ability to perform under pressure was evident, and many believe his skills are perfect for the high-powered Eagles offense. The Eagles are no strangers to making bold moves, and acquiring Bourne could be a game changer. With his exceptional route running, ability to gain yards after the catch, and versatility, he could complement star receivers like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Given the Eagles' championship aspirations, adding a talent like Bourne would provide. Quarterback Jalen Hurts with another dynamic weapon to target. On March 24, 2024, Bourne signed a 3-year extension with the Patriots, but that hasn't dampened the Eagles' pursuit. The fact that he's now recovering from an injury only adds to the intrigue. Teams often make moves for players who can be developed into even greater assets post-recovery, and the Eagles might be positioning themselves to seize that opportunity. Bourne's work ethic and experience in clutch moments could be just what Philadelphia needs. With the 2024 season on the horizon, all eyes will be on Bourne as he works his way back to full health. The question on everyone's mind now is whether the Eagles will make a serious push for the talented wide receiver. If they do, it could be the beginning of a new chapter for both Bourne and the Philadelphia Eagles, one that could elevate their offense to even greater heights. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.